In the US, taxes are often taken out of workers' paychecks, oftentimes more than what is actually required by the tax code or the law. A lot of people actually prefer this, since this acts as a kind of automated savings account. This enables them, during tax season, which can be a large lump sum of money for a lot of people, depending on your tax situation, that is. Now, the problem with this is that this savings account effectively has a 0% interest rate. You are giving the government a zero interest loan. Now, if that's your thing, then there's nothing really wrong with that. However, if you're like me or like anybody else in sort of the finance guru space and you want to maximize your wealth creation, there are many ways you can do it, but starting with effectively managing your taxes is just one of them. And how can you do it in this case? Well, you could zero out your taxes owed per year, or get as close to it as possible. Adjusting your tax levels per paycheck to the right amount. And the money that you get back per paycheck, you could then take that money and you can put it into any number of investment vehicles with higher interest rates to make your savings more effective. Doing this over months and years could increase your wealth much more than you ever would have imagined. So let's discuss 5 alternatives you could put your money into instead of getting a lump sum paycheck from the government every year during tax time. So you know what it is, guys. Derek West, Finance Squared. Like, subscribe, click the notification bell so you don't miss out on great videos as they come through. Starting off with high yield savings accounts. And in this video, we're talking about 5 alternatives for putting your money into instead of getting a lump sum of money from the government during tax season. And we discussed this a little bit earlier, right? Doing it to make this happen, you need to zero out your taxes. Zeroing out your taxes is gonna put more money into your paycheck per paycheck. But the thing is, when you get more money per paycheck, just don't spend it on additional things, i.e. lifestyle creep. You wanna put that money into a vehicle that can then pay you money in the long term. And I talked about 5 of them that we wanna think about. Those 5 are high yield savings accounts, money market accounts, certificates of deposits, bond treasuries, Roth IRAs. Each of these are not necessarily sexy investment vehicles, right? I bet you thought I was gonna talk about crypto or Forex trading or any of those things. You could put your money into those vehicles to help grow your wealth exponentially or faster than average anyway. However, those vehicles are highly volatile. And somebody that's sort of new to trading, new to investing in general, more than likely, if they start off with those things, they're gonna fail pretty hard and it's gonna cause them to quit investing in, or maybe not be as aggressive as they could be in their investing and savings journey. So instead, take that money and put it into something relatively safe. And these vehicles I'm talking about here, they're relatively safe, but they're also relatively low return. You could, however, apply these same principles to more advanced trading instruments and expand and grow your wealth even faster. But let's talk about these 5 safer investment vehicles. Let's start off with the simplest of all of these, and probably the easiest one to get into. That stated, it's gonna be your lowest return. Typically, I'm talking about high yield savings accounts. So high yield savings accounts, they're kind of the rage nowadays, particularly during a high inflationary environment. With these accounts, your average interest rate can be anywhere from 0.5% to 2.0%. There's examples out there, like Marcus by Goldman, right? At the time of recording this video, the interest rate was about 1.5%. That's not a bad interest rate for saving in a savings account from a bank. There are other examples out there with higher interest rates, and there's plenty of them with lower interest rates. And as inflation goes down, expect high yield savings accounts interest rates to come down with them. But if we're talking about a yield on a $2,000 lump sum, for example, if you have like your average tax return of the typical individual at about $2,000 per year, that'd be a lump sum of $2,000. If you took that same money and you put it into a high yield savings account with a 1.5 interest rate, you'd earn approximately $30 in a year. So instead of just getting $2,000 from Uncle Sam, you could get $2,030 from your high yield savings account. Not bad. And again, compounding that over years is going to increase your savings instead of having it sit in some account where you earn nothing. Next up is money market accounts. Money market accounts, not as popular in the space for good reason. They're one of the lower earning account types that you can put your money into. That stated, however, you can put your money into these accounts and you can get more than you put in, which is a key theme of this video. $2,000 invested with a 1% interest rate could earn you $20 in a year. Certificates of deposit, slightly more popular, but not talked about enough in my opinion. Now, your average interest rate on a certificate of deposit is about 0.5% to 3.0%, depending on the length and the term of the certificate. So Ally Bank and other banks, they offer CDs with interest rates up to 2.5% for a 12-month term. Now, at 2.5%, you'd earn approximately $50 in a year. One thing I think needs to be stated here, the difference between certificates of deposits and other banking account types. We talked about high yield savings, we talked about money market a second ago, is that there is an expectation for a certificate of deposit that you need to put your money into that account for a certain period of time. And that if you take your money out before that period of time expires, you can get a penalty. So that definitely needs to be kept in mind when determining if this is the right thing to do for you. Let's talk about bonds. James bonds. No, not James bonds. Treasury bonds. Average interest rates on a treasury bond can be 1% to 3%, depending on the bond's maturity rate. Similar concept to CDs. So a 10-year US Treasury bond yields around 3.0% at the time of recording. $2,000 lump sum with 3.0% interest rate could earn you approximately $60 per year. Compounded over the period of time, you can expect much more. Now, one thing I think you may have noticed as I've been going through each of these types of savings accounts is that the level of risk with each type has been going up and up and up. And actually the stipulations on what you can do with that money over a period of time also tightens. So one thing you need to keep in mind with any account type and with any sort of investment or savings vehicle is that the more risky the savings vehicle is, the larger the possibility of growing your wealth also is. Particularly the longer the term for holding your money in a safer savings account, the greater you can expect the return to be. But also there's risk associated with that. We need to keep those things in mind when choosing the types of accounts that we're looking into. But the next one that I'm going to talk about is the Roth IRA. The average interest rate on a Roth IRA can vary widely depending on the type of investment inside the Roth IRA, such as stocks, bonds, etc. A diversified Roth IRA portfolio might return approximately 7% annually, again depending on what you have in there. And 7% on $2,000 lump sum would return you approximately $140 in a year. Now each of these types of accounts that are options to just getting a lump sum of money from Uncle Sam during tax year, they actually require a little bit of extra work on your side. And you might be thinking to yourself, well, that's a little bit of extra work, and I understand that I'm getting more money, but is getting that more money worth the extra amount of work that I'm doing to actually get that money? And that's actually a great point. Typically, I would say no, right? Do you need that extra headache? Do you need that extra level of effort to get just a little bit extra in savings every year? If the savings amount were, let's say, $300 per year, I would say it would definitely be worth it. But all of these cases, it's less than $150 a year. If I were to say that you had to manually do all these things to get that little bit of extra money, I would say it's not worth it. You're probably better off, depending on your personality, just getting a lump sum from Uncle Sam every year. However, that's not the case anymore. A lot of this process can be automated. Let's talk about that next. We talk about right-sizing your taxes so that the amount of money that you would have been paying to Uncle Sam shrinks, and that money goes into your savings accounts so that you owe 0% of taxes every year, and you get a little bit extra in your paycheck per paycheck. And we talked about the importance of not just letting that sit in your bank account or spending that little extra money. We talked about getting that into a savings account that can grow over time. You can use direct deposit splits to make sure that the amount that used to be going to Uncle Sam is now going to a separate account directly deposited to ensure that this whole process is automated. Even if you don't want to do that, you can use automatic transfers to move money between accounts automatically. And then there's Roth IRAs. You can set up recurring contributions on a monthly basis. So that would require understanding what amount of money you're getting in extra per month from the savings in taxes per month. Depending on how many paychecks you get per month, it could be different. Setting up the contributions on a monthly basis is very possible with Roth IRAs and other types of brokerage accounts. And many financial institutions and banks allow you to automate these contributions directly from your bank account, taking the amount of money that you would have gotten back from Uncle Sam at the end of the tax year as a lump sum payment for overestimating your taxes can actually be put into an investment vehicle or a savings vehicle that can actually earn you interest instead of just giving it to Uncle Sam and getting nothing for your money. So keep that in mind as we start to approach the end of the year and as tax time comes into focus for us all. And remember, a goal without a plan is a wish. A goal with a plan and no action is a wish list. Like, subscribe, click the notification bell, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. I'm out of here. Peace.